Okay. Oops. Okay, hello, good morning. We're going to start. This session is entitled Ethnic and Religious Minorities and the Place of the Other in Revolutionary Iran. My name is Charles Small. I'm the director of a research center at Yale that deals with issues of anti-Semitism. And I'm just going to try to frame the session this morning in a brief few minutes of remarks. The issues that we've been dealing with are of extreme importance to the region and to the world. Strategic issues, issues of nuclear weapons programs, and that sort of thing. When it comes to the politics of the other, or the politics of recognition, I would argue that it provides a window into the society and into the ideology of the regime and the social context in which the four papers are going to be presented. The politics of recognition, or the politics of multiculturalism, is an important sphere that provides this window. And if you look at the writings of Charles Taylor, Will Kimlicka, Michael Walzer, the social construction of belonging and the other, and recognizing the other, like Emmanuel Levinas's work, for example, the recognition of the other and the ethics in treating the other is very important. It's very important to create social justice, integration, social, cultural, and economic integration. When the other is demonized or dehumanized or delegitimized, it creates a situation that can pave the way for segregation, for marginalization, for periods in various societies of enslavement, and even genocide. So this is very important. And I think the regime, as some of you have been engaged in the incitement to genocide in a very serious and continuous way for the past 30 years vis-a-vis Israel, the Zionists, and the Jews. And I would argue in the work that I've done that the regime has consistently, and particularly with Ahmadinejad, in a very classical sense, it's almost like the puppeteer of putting the hand out here saying, look at the Jews, look at the Zionists, look at the Israelis, and with the other hand, put control and marginalize the opposition movement, delegitimize groups like the Baha'i movement, women's groups and organizations, the gay community in Iran. When Ahmadinejad spoke at Columbia University and he said there were no gay people in Iran, the audience laughed because it's such an absurd statement. But if you understand the narrow ideology of the regime and its interpretation of Islamic laws and rules and the notion, there cannot be gay people in Iran because it contravenes this notion of radical, narrow Islam. So these are very important things that we need to look at. And I'll just say that there are some people who are in the audience today that were at Geneva in the Durban II conference, and I think there, in a sense, there was a small victory. There were young people from Israel, from Europe, young Jewish people, people from the opposition movement of Iran, of Iraq. There were Berbers and Rwandans and Darfurians, young people working together to confront the rise of this radical form of Islam as practiced by the revolutionary regime. And I think there was a victory that some countries boycotted Durban II, and other countries walked out when Ahmadinejad got up to speak. But I'd also say, and I think in a way, that the speech of Ahmadinejad is very important, and it was, I think, a tremendous victory for the other side, in that he is using the protocols of the Elders of Zion. The narrative of the protocols of the Elders of Zion was used by Ahmadinejad. It's used by the regime consistently. This is the forged document that came out of Europe in the 19th century, which helped to pave the way to dehumanize the Jewish people and pave the way to the Holocaust. The Holocaust did not begin with the concentration camps, it began with words. And the thing about anti-Semitism historically, if you focus on the history of anti-Semitism, and this is what we do in our institute, anti-Semitism always begins with Jews, but it never ends with Jews. That once this disease spreads into a society, other marginal and weak communities are often victims of the same ideology. And I think we're going to hear today of some of the issues in the Iranian context on very important topics related to this context. So the first paper will be from Jalal Pranazar, excuse me for mispronouncing your name. She's from the University of California, Berkeley, and her title of her paper is Stories Untold, Memories by Iranian Jewish Women.